It's an interview for Peak Magazine, a little bit of a special one. Obviously, everybody knows that we do a lot of interviews and things for Bare Knuckle. But I'm sitting here with sort of quite a range of people. On my right, I've got Dave Radford here. Everybody knows Dave Radford even. Proper old school legend. And then on my left here, we've got some of the new breeders, as people like to call them. Scott Midgley and Billy Hawthorne. It's a little bit dodgy for me because I'm sure at one point or another Scott's going to try and put his hand on my knee, but we're not going to do that. We've been doing an interview for Mercury Sports Network, who are going to do the pay-per-view TV for the up-and-coming fight with Dave Radford and James McCrory. And it's, it's just a little bit of sort of chatter from there. Dave, I was wondering, I mean, we were talking earlier on, and obviously you're old school, you go back a long time in the fight game. This sort of new breed that people talk about, the likes of these lads here, what sort of advice would you give to them?
I think the main thing is obviously we're hoping now that it's going to be a lot more out there and everything, and people are taking notice. But my main thing is with such as these young fighters is to be safe and that. But they must do the training. They've got to train because, as I said, one, if you're unfit, you're taking ammo what you shouldn't be taking. But also when you are fit, you're looking for winning that fight, and being fit and healthy is going to get you through that. And I do think that's what every fight should be. Is 100% every time they go in there to be fit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I know, Scott, Dave's one of your sort of heroes, and we were talking earlier on. You'd love to get in the ring with him. Just to see you being in the ring with Dave Radford. What sort of motivated you to get into this sport?
What's motivated me to get into the sport itself? I've always been a fighter, not just boxing, but obviously I've been a bit of an idiot in my past. I don't mind a good pub scrap, to be honest. So I'd rather do something where you can get paid for it and not get locked up at end at night. So
that sounds good to me.
And now obviously it's turned into a good sport. It's one of the oldest sports in the world, but now it's kind of the newest sport as well. So I don't know. I thought I'm made for it. It's more my cup of tea than see your MMA guys these days. They've already got 10 years training already. Yeah. So if I try and get into that, I'm already 10 years behind half of these. 90% of them are not as tough as me, and can't hit as hard as me, but they've got the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background, they've got the wrestling background, all the grappling, which I'd be so far behind in that. So I didn't want to take up that at 30-year-olds. I didn't want to take up boxing again, because same again, you got a 21-year-old kid who'll just run rings around me.
Yeah.
It won't ever hurt me. He'll never really want to go toe-to-toe, but he'll just win points, and I don't want to look silly against someone who's I know I'd beat all day long in a real fight. Whereas this, I think I've got it for this. I think I've got everything for it. I've got a great chin. I'm fit. I hit hard, and I'm naturally fast. So I think I'm
very modest as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'll be great.
What about you, Billy? I mean, you've sort of burst onto the bare knuckle scene. You've two bare knuckle bouts, still unbeaten. What sort of motivated you to get into this?
Well, as you know, I've been a boxer since I was 8-year-old, and when it come to Newcastle, James McCrory contacted us and said, do you want to fight on the show? And obviously I've watched his fight with Dave Radford a couple of times, and I really enjoyed watching it, and I really wanted to give it a go. And now that I have given it a go, it just seems more of a sport for me. Obviously I still do my boxing, I still love my boxing, but I prefer to do the bare knuckle as it's more my sport.
Yeah. I mean, it seems to be going a lot more mainstream now. Obviously the pay-per-view TVs were mentioned. But I mean, we were talking earlier on, I mean, there's actually going to be a film made pretty soon, The Angel of the North, about this, featuring James McCrory and sort of Dave Radford. How are you feeling about that, Dave? It must be a pretty good thing that, there's a movie being made that includes you about what you've done in your life. You must be proud.
Yeah. Cy Briggs from London's got in touch with us, and he's been to this place a few times now, and I've been down London to see him, and it's all going ahead, and it's going to be a good film. I've read everything what he's done about it and said, and it's on its way, and it's going to be good, and it'd be great. It's great that I'm going to be in part of this film. Do you know what I mean? About me and James's fights mainly as well, and it's going to be a really good thing, as people can, when they watch the film, then they'll probably look us up on YouTube and see the real fights and what it's all about. And I'm looking forward to it.
Did you say, I know Si as well, and he's really sort of into this. He came to the last big bad show at Newcastle Legends to be made, and at the end of that fight I was talking to him, and he was just blown away by the whole thing, the safety, the respect. I don't know sort of what he expected, but he's really sort of up for it, that he wants to show it really, how it is. Who are they going to get to play? Who do you think then?
I don't know, it'll have to be some good looking hard man, I think. I don't know. I mean, he tells me, I spoke to him the other day, he's got someone for James. He's looking, but I wouldn't have a clue. I wouldn't have a clue he's got for me.
But when you say a good looking hard man, I bet you're Scott's thinking, oh, that's me. What do you think about this sort of people that you know and you're friends with? Is a movie going to be made about their lives?
Great exposure for him, and people get to see the real life behind the man themselves. I know Si myself, is a great guy and he's got a good passion for it, and and it's about time that they're not just YouTubing the videos and watching that fight. They're getting to know the background, the people, the stories. Obviously Dave's going to play a huge part in this film. I'm pretty sure I know what sort of character they're going to put as him, and they'll get to see the world will get to see a great light of what Dave's really like, not just as a fighter, but what he's been through and his whole life really. So it's not annoying him. Always has been.
So I mean, Billy, you're sort of still pretty new to this game, sort of. In years to come, do you think maybe you'll be making a film about your life?
Well, I don't think anyone would want to make a film about my life, if I'm honest, but to see such as like Dave and James Quinn and like James McCory in a film is really good. Like, loads of people think just getting in the ring is what the fight is about, but it's not. No one sees the preparation of a fight, like the training that goes in. Loads of people say it's a fight and they think that's that, but it's not. It goes into a lot more detail than that.
I'd say Billy's got to be the most sort of, the opposite of Scott, the most modest fight I've ever seen. I mean, they don't call him Bang Bang for no reason. Scott, your last fight, you did amazingly well. You said, you told me the day before your game plan, you stuck to it perfectly with Donald McPhee. You'll be fighting Ross Chittick pretty soon on the 16th. Where do you see you'll be going sort of from there?
Well, I know Ross Chipmunk really well. Chickup, yeah. I know him really well. He's a good lad. He's a good friend of mine. He's a great fighter, very explosive, and I think I'm going to come away with a win from that. And I'm praying that this summer I'll hopefully fight for the title. I don't know whether Dave's going to carry on or whether we're going to have an eliminator for it. I ain't got a clue what they've got planned, but I'd love to fight for the title, and hopefully go from there. But I've got to get a win from this fight first, more than out. So I'm not looking past this fight at all. I've made that mistake once before, and I'll never make that again. You've been around for a while. Your last fight, it was over in seconds. The fight before that, you picked up a loss, but to be fair to you were fighting with a broken ankle. How are you feeling about this fight with Ross? I'm confident. I'm always confident. There's no point stepping in the ring having a bit of self-doubt. The first time you step in that ring and you've got doubt that you may lose, well, then you're not going to perform to your best. So as long as I don't go in cocky, I just go in confident. There's a difference. Never cross the line and be cocky, because that's when you make mistakes. And obviously I won't make mistakes if I stick to a game plan what I've trained for. And obviously I do train hard. So the plan for Ross is hit him hard, hit him fast, hit him more times than he hits me. It's as simple as that.
If it goes wrong for you and Ross knocks you out, will you carry on in the game?
Oh, absolutely.
Would you rematch him?
No, I'd probably no. It depends how the fight goes. I'd have to work my way back to the rematch, just like everyone else does. Unless the fight's a great fight and I were winning and then just got caught, which obviously that's a possibility. Then I'd ask for a rematch, but chances are he'd probably fight for the title himself, which I think he deserves it because he's on a bit of a streak. But I'd probably want another fight to get my confidence back. But so I've only ever lost one fight in my entire life, whether it was boxing, street fighting, or anything bare knuckle. I've only ever lost one fight.
That was when you fought me, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in pub. So after that fight, obviously you saw when I come back, I'm more determined, I'm more focused, and I'm still on the same track now. So.
Yeah.
No, it's really going to stop me at the moment. If I get knocked out, I get knocked out. I'll watch the fight and see how I got beat, and maybe learn from that. If it's one of them where you just got caught, well, then there's no you can't learn from that. Just protect yourself a little bit more.
It's probably a sign of an intelligent fighter that you'll sort of look at it and see what maybe you did wrong and learn from it.
You've got to.
Dave, you must be absolutely sick of this question, but I can't help but ask. You fought Roberto Duran back in the day. You were plastering a wall, I believe, at the time. What was it like to go from doing a little bit of plastering to off to South Africa fighting Roberto Duran?
Yeah, it was very quick, short notice. You know, I got a phone call, and within this phone call, I was home in 10 minutes, and within 3 hours, I was on my way down to airport in London, and then obviously flying to Africa, and then get myself prepared. I think I found out on the Tuesday. I landed there late Wednesday, I think, by the time I got everything sorted, and I was in Africa in Johannesburg on Saturday night.
It's some going, that, mate.
Yeah.
And you give him a bit of a run for his money. I mean, you went the distance with him.
I did, yeah, but as I said, it was a very hard fight. Different, you know, I was nowhere near in his league, but someone was looking down on me. I ended up going the distance with him, but